Good morning, everyone. Hi, good afternoon. Hope I'm hitting everyone's time zones. If you're in Alaska, what is the time? If you're in Hawaii, what is it? 9 a.m., something like that. So you're having an early brunch, and if you are on the East Coast, you're having a late brunch. And then if you're in Europe, you might be having, what is that you're having over there in Europe? You're having dinner and all that good stuff. I'm wearing a beautiful scarf sent to me by Patricia. I absolutely love it. Thank you. Well, as people are finding the streams, as you can see, my hair is just growing. I've stopped cutting it. I've also stopped dyeing it. My hair has gone a little bit crazy, but I forgot to put blush on. I'm looking a bit like anemic. I didn't put any blush on. Oh, well, I'm just noticing myself. All right. Hi, Joel. Joel Tilson is here. He is the official floor director and head moderator. If you're having a problem, if there's any problems, please reach out to Joel Tilson. Please tell us where you're coming from, what you're eating and drinking. We usually spend a couple minutes just saying hi to each other as people find the stream. It's just a great way to turn and say hello to the person next to you as we expand this brunch table, our brunch table, to the four corners of the earth, and keeping with Abraham's tradition, right? We welcome all here. There's only one rule, and that is kindness, chesed in Hebrew. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. Everyone is welcomed. Please respect people even if they don't hold your political views. I know it's hard for those of you who are anti-royal because we've been having some intense discussions about that. We'll be talking a lot about the remote views. Last night I did an extended remote view on Diddy Boy, and Hollywood royalty. So we've been covering both what's going on in Britain with the political issues of just how much power should the monarchy have. How is that relevant today? We've certainly been talking about that. Is it relevant to life in other countries? Well, certainly, if they're part of NATO and we're deciding joint operations, et cetera, and their country is partially conservative monarchy, then yes, that would theoretically impact other countries, global alliances, et cetera. So yeah, I think it does affect everything. And then just similarly, you could argue that here in America, we have our own type of royalty, right? We have our Sean Diddy Combs, right? And we have our, what is it? Who's the other ones that are big? Brad Pitt and his ex-wife. They're all famous. All right, so what I'm drinking today, I'll just share with you, is I'm having some signature Italian mineral water with carbonation added. It tastes really good. I try not to have sugar throughout the day, so instead of soda pop, I try to do soda water. I don't know what ingredients they add, if they add a citric acid or something, but it tastes like carbonated lemon water, and I really like it. I wish there was a way that I could just make carbonation in my own home. I bought one of those things where you have a can. It just seems so wasteful. You discard the thing after every time you make a 16 ounce of the carbonation, and it doesn't have the sour citrus flavor of this soda water. So it was just bubbly water without that sour citrus flavor from the minerals. The minerals are what's giving it that flavor. And so different minerals will be acidic or they'll be alkaline depending on if they have a plus or a negative charge, right? So I think it's the taste of the minerals, that sour flavor you get. So what you're drinking something that has a really delicious soury flavor of a soda pop, but the sugar and chemicals have been removed. If I could recreate it at home for less, I would. It's my soda pop. All right, we're going to turn the camera around and say hi to everybody. Hi, Deborah Murphy. Great to see you. Paula Snell is in the house, and Dylan is here. Kitty Connell, be sure and share, like, and subscribe if you haven't had a chance to do so yet to the stream. It would really help our channel grow and help us continue to improve the quality. Hi, Copper Broom. Always great to see you. Chris Crowdis in the house. Roxanne Clement, hello. Claudia Veras, looking good. Good to see you here. Thank you for the hugs. As we mentioned, Joel Tilson is the official floor director for our channel. So all concerns, he will take care of them. He's a wonderful person from Cheyenne, Wyoming, a great cook, both Palestinian history and Jewish ancestry. So he is the official peacemaker. Are you part Native American too? I mean, you're a little bit of everything great, right? Right, Joel? He's a direct descendant of King Farouk also. So he is the seat of the power here. Hi, Sue Malik. Diane T in the house. Sheena Ferry, hello. Wendy Burt, always great to see her here. She's been here from the very beginning. I believe you came when I was at 500 subscribers. Joyce Pietras, also a long time loyal member. Hello, A.W. Peterson, Desiree Roboto, Roxanne. We'll keep saying hi to people as we go along. Oh, yeah. There's been some crazy rains in North Carolina and flooding too in some parts. So that he was not able to go to his rally. It's interesting because Trump is most politicians hate rallies. They hate doing that stuff, but Trump actually loves his rallies because they validate him, right? So if he has to miss a rally, he hates missing rallies. He loves rallies. Most politicians are like, oh God, I got to go talk to some more people who are going to worship and adore me. But yeah, no, he likes his rallies, and he was not trust me, he was not happy. I think that nothing makes Trump happier than coming out of that courtroom and using those rallies as his personal therapy session. Agree? No? Anyway, we can talk about that as we go along. I want to also start by saying that this channel has an official book club. Yay, we have a book club. Yeah, has everybody liked the books we've recommended so far? Yeah, so we started a book club in order to promote ourselves. In order to, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cough. It'll go away. In order to help support small writers and artists who watch the channel, who are interested in similar things that we're interested in. We're looking for books, either fiction or nonfiction, that are spiritual and have lessons in character improvement that will help us become better people. So if you have written something that people can buy, we want to help support your business as a writer. That is either fiction or nonfiction that carries ethical themes. Please send a copy to Whimsy Anderson. Also, I think Chuck needs a copy. I have to figure out how to get a copy to Chuck. Please send a copy of your book and a little bit of a bio about you as well to Whimsy Anderson at 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201. Okay. So this month, I am extremely honored and excited about the book of the month. It is Spark. And it is definitely sparking, some intense conversations here on our channel. It is this idea that we are all in this world for a reason. We have a purpose. And by connecting to our inner spark, our core, we can come back alive, and that we lose our spark. We're beaten down by life, discouragement, etc. And this is the path to find your way back to your purpose. It's never too late to find your spark and be happy. We strongly believe that. Now, this coming Tuesday, I think we might be off for Passover. I have to check and see. I believe Second Seder is Tuesday. I have to find out what's going on. But the following Tuesday, which I think it's the 29th or something like 30th, she will be here in the studio, Gail Ninehouse, the author, to interview. What I love about the book, all the reasons why I like this book, first off, it's very practical, it's very encouraging, and it gets you to, she asks questions throughout this process. You know, one of the ways we get trapped is we get trapped because we only use a certain portion of our brain, and then it becomes like obsessive compulsive, and then we don't even think to ask certain questions. And what she does is she gets you in a safe place where you can begin to ask yourself sometimes questions you're too afraid to even ask yourself, so that you can begin to find out how you got lost in the first place. And it's just this returning back to that passion, or what she calls the warrior soul. The warrior soul, which she talks about in chapter 5. So, you know, how can you connect to that? It is now, I guess, available on Amazon.com, Thrift Books, and Barnes & Noble. If you would like to join us for that discussion, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. Okay, is everybody here? We've got 168 people here. That sounds like enough people for us to do the empath's prayer. What do you say? Oh, you're very kind. Thank you, Barbara. You're very kind. All right, let's do the empath's prayer. And then we're going to do the remotes, and then we'll do the collective reading, and then we'll do the blitzes. Sound good? Yeah, Monday is first Seder, and then community Seder is Tuesday night. Family Seder is Monday night, and then community Seder Tuesday night. Or what we call second Seder. All right, let's do it. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen. So I did an extended remote view. I try to get one in on Saturday nights because, you know, my life is so exciting. All right. So let's see what came up. Here's where it starts, then it goes here, and then it goes here. Okay, so the first thing that the universe, you know, if you're talking about a universal download or information that the universe wants us to start thinking about, is start looking at your early conditioning. And much of how our early conditioning happens, whether we are unaware of it or not. So these decisions about how the world operates are happening for us when our brain is not thoroughly developed, when we are extremely young, and we accept the reality that's presented to us. And as a result of that, we are making decisions that may not necessarily even be rational about how the world operates. An example, so this is something that we go into in the book Spark by Gail Ninehouse, is this idea that we don't even know how to get ourselves out of the box that we placed ourselves into, because all we know how to do is live in that box, right? Maybe we were born poor, our grandparents were poor, our parents were poor, we're going to be poor, everybody's going to be poor, because we are really good at being poor, right? So that would be an example of you just grow up being poor. Everybody's poor. Everybody in our neighborhood's poor. We've always been poor, right? So you're making these decisions. Well, Oprah Winfrey talked about the fact, well, I'm going to be fat. Your mama's fat, you're fat, you're all going to be fat, right? These unconscious, oh, well, I'm always going to be fat. I'm always going to be poor. we make unconscious decisions, right? And then we've basically destroyed our own lives before we even make it to high school, right? Because we've made decisions about ourselves. So be mindful of that. The other thing that Spirit wants you to be aware of is how your birth order may be having an irrational impact on how you look out at the world. How birth order could be causing you to have, it shapes your irrational view of the world, and potentially also how you vote, who you marry, etc. And it's simply the luck of the draw. Were you the firstborn? Were you the eldest or the youngest child? An example of that would be, Spirit wants us to take a look at Donald Trump as the eldest child, or a younger child of Fred Trump, right? So you had Donald Trump, and then you had Fred Trump Jr., right? So you have this kind of dynamic between Fred Jr. is expected to be, the expectations of the eldest is to be responsible and to be a mini version of the other parent. But what happens if you cannot live up to the expectations of being the responsible one? You become angry, depressed, you might become suicidal. So we see this also with Prince William. He is the eldest. So there's more pressure through no fault of your own. If you're the eldest, whether it's Prince William or Fred Jr., you're placed in an irrational situation where you are expected to be the responsible one, right? The youngest on the other, and oh, you're the third in line. Yeah, so you would be one of the older responsible ones, right? Middle childs also get forgotten, but that's a whole other conversation, right? They tend to be more bookish, and but that's yeah. So in the case of Prince William and in the case of Fred Senior, Fred Jr., they have to be the responsible ones. They have to be the adult. They have to keep the family firm going. Everything has to be. So you can imagine the pressure. In the case of Fred, he drank himself to death. He kind of committed suicide via the bottle, right? Now, the other thing that happens is we are introduced to power dynamics. And this is something that Spirit also wants you to meditate on, is how we are manipulated. What is your first introduction to power? And so for most people, we get introduced to power believing when we are born that adults are supernatural beings, right? So we are born and we think that adults are all powerful, that they are gods, that everything they say is true, and that children are not gods, right? That we have to listen to everything a parent does. And so it's kind of a magical thinking that children have, right? And you have this similar relationship between subjects and the monarchy, right? Where the subjects believe that the monarch is somehow chosen by God, is somehow divine, is maybe genetically or biologically superior. And in order for this myth to exist, you have to have this power dynamic. You have to maintain this power dynamic, right? So the first introduction to power you might have at the eldest is that you have to keep the dynamic going, which is Prince William. The job of the younger child is to be the scapegoat, right? So the younger child's role is to be the scapegoat. If Fred Jr. doesn't have any power, if Fred is frustrated, if the wife is frustrated, if the daughter's frustrated, all they have to do is use the youngest child as a punching bag. Now, if it's an extremely dysfunctional family, that means the child is born into continuous abuse. The mother's beating him up, the father's beating him up, and the older siblings are beating up. And then they go to school where they're told, "You're weird." Why are they weird? Because they're trying not to get beat up all day. What happens? They go to school and they get beat up. So what you have is you have the makings of a scapegoat. Most scapegoats are the younger kid, They got beat up by the older kids. They got beat up by their frustrated, broke parents. You know, we're having financial problems. Too many mouths to feed. Beat up the youngest, right? So then the younger child rebels, right? And so what does the child do? He runs away. He becomes the prodigal son. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I don't want to be in here anymore. So you have a dynamic, right? So the dynamic, be aware of, what was your first introduction of power? Who are you in the family dynamic? Are you the scapegoat or the little dictator? Or are you both? Sometimes you can do both, because now that you are now that you've run away and the scapegoat is no longer going to get beaten up by Fred and everybody else, they can go be their own little dictator, right? Now they get to start their own company and begin doing to everybody what was done to them, right? So it's that is the dynamic. So the youngest child is often abused or picked on by older members of the family who felt no power. This is their first chance to have power by picking on the youngest. The youngest then goes on to become the scapegoat. The scapegoated child then goes off to find power outside of the relationship of being the family victim. The role of the elder is to be the dictator, whose job is to control the family unit and to continue the policies of the parents by being a little dictator, the abuser of the younger children. So we might have the bully elder. My brothers picked on me, my sister, they were bullies, right? Whereas the younger children are bullied. So it changes. Say between ages of 3 and 5, you were the youngest. So you were the scapegoat between ages of 3 and 5. And then you got a younger brother, younger sister, and then you became the elder. So it's this cycle. So be aware of where you are in the cycle. Are you the scapegoat at work because you're the most recent employee? Or are you in the position now? Well, I'm the father and you're my kid. So it's all part of a circle, and to be aware of it. Also be aware of trauma dynamics. So in the case of trauma dynamics, that's where you try to get in good with the dictator who abused you by finding another victim, right? So this is where we get into the controversies of some of what's going on with Diddy. When I was meditating on Diddy and I went into the remote view, I was pulled into a conversation with spirit. I want to talk to you about birth order. I'm like, birth order? I thought we were going to access private documents on Diddy. Well, I first want to talk to you about birth order and power and how we learn about power. So my guides wanted to talk about that. Can we talk about Diddy now? Now they're ready to talk about Diddy. And they're talking about this dynamic of trauma bonds between, say, Diddy and Usher, right? Where you had this older parent who's now going to make Usher the star, right? So then now there's evidence Usher was wearing a wire, that Diddy was molesting people. It's interesting because in the old days, they used to call having sex with someone diddling somebody, right? I diddled this person, I diddled that person. So maybe Diddy is a joke, a play on that word. But so I tried getting information, and this happens sometimes where I'll get the energy of the FBI, an FBI agent will show up, or I'll get the oversoul of an FBI agent. So last night was frustrating with me because I scanned the grid of where the raid took place in LA, and I was in the canyon. I was trying to find out whether I was scanning his house on the canyon, and then I was scanning other houses trying to figure out who else is involved. Do I feel an energetic link between this house and any of the other houses, right? I was trying to figure out, could not get in. I was getting so frustrated. And I got a message from the FBI saying, you do recognize that this is an active criminal investigation, right? That Homeland Security is involved. I'm like, come on, man, you got to give me something, man. Come on, give me something. And I kept getting that. You understand that this is an active criminal investigation. Homeland Security is. I'm like, come on, give me something. Give me something by permission of spirit. I understand. Okay, so you're not going to get, clearly the FBI is not going to give me anything. So I got to go in another way. You know me, I'll try and get anyway. So I go talk to, will Usher talk to me? Hey, unburden yourself. Talk to Michael Cohen. It's going to make you feel a lot better if you talk to me, right? So I finally got in, and I'm going to tell you how I got in. So Diddy is currently under criminal investigation. There's also a link between him and the Trump organization. So basically, it was pay to play. A lot of doors were opened. They looked the other way regarding criminal activity under the Trump organization. China now has complete control of our grid. The former president was bought and sold. It appears that Diddy was blackmailing people. He was caught when people working for him carrying wires. They were moving products and wearing wires, stuff that was being smuggled in via furniture and other stuff. Ellen DeGeneres is now being linked because of bringing furniture in. However, there's a separate investigation currently going on with the drug cartel and the bringing of products from other countries, possibly smuggling guns and weapons. Diddy being linked to that. He was a major dealer, and now I'm talking to the people who turned state's evidence, are working with the FBI. Here's what they said, and then they'll tell you who they are. He was a major dealer. He's a major drug dealer. He's like our godfather. He ran his business like the mafia. He was running drugs, he was running people, and he was running weapons. You have to understand that for us, hip hop was just a slick cover. The truth of the matter is, a lot of times we lost money off of hip hop. You could think of hip hop as like our shell company. We were losing money left and right because what we really wanted to do was fund young artists, and that sometimes costs money. Who are we? Me and my brother, we wanted to get into the business. So these are two guys, African American, that we wanted to get into the business. We didn't want to become drug dealers or drug carriers, or we didn't want to get involved with any of that stuff. We were interested in sound engineering. We wanted to do an internship. We wanted to go to Diddy camp to learn how to be real musicians, my brother and I. I don't want to give too much information because you're probably going to find out who these people are. Two males, African-American, working for Diddy that thought they were going to get introduced to the music industry. And instead, things went south. Instead of getting introduced to the hip hop lifestyle, the slick marketing, we realized that we were working for basically a shell company. The truth of the matter is the artists were bleeding us dry and we needed money, which we got through selling drugs. That was basically what we were doing. We were selling drugs to fund our music industry. That's how we got involved. We just wanted to be artists. The feds wanted to know about the drug movements more than about us. We weren't going to be prosecuted. They just wanted to know about the drugs that we were moving. Diddy and some of the members are heavily involved in the Church of Santeria, which is the main faith of many of the people moving the drugs. They feel that the saints will protect them. Jello is also practicing Santeria. It is not Satanism, it's our faith. So what was happening is that these guys got involved with Diddy and they thought that they were going to get involved in the music industry. And the next thing you know, they're being asked to do something that has nothing to do with that. Whoa, we didn't want to. And then the next thing you know, they're 100% involved. It's like, what does this have to do with the music? Well, this is how we fund the art. You want to be an artist? This is how we fund the art. Well, we didn't agree. We didn't sign up for this. Well, then you need to wear a wire so that if you're smuggling drugs or having conversations, etc., you need to be wearing a wire when it's happening and work with the feds. So what happened was the people in the warehouses, the people that were moving the drugs began wearing wires. And the main thing was the drug movements. That was what brought in Homeland. Human trafficking, yes, but they were trying to find the movements of the drugs, which was the main source of income for the art. And so these two kids that were brothers who were good kids, they were like, we are in deep and we need to get a lawyer and get out of this. So that's what they did. Also a message from Spirit from Ifa, a message from Spirit from Ifa. So Ifa are the spiritual traditions of West Africa. And they, if you go to the Babalawo, if you go to the priest, in a bodega in East LA and you say, I want to receive blessing from the Ifa and I want to go and commit crimes. Oh, no problem. You just give me a bunch of money and I'll do some mumbo jumbo, because the Ifa is amoral. As long as you pay to play, you can do whatever you like. So the message from the Ifa is, this is a violation of the natural order. You have distorted the laws of the teachings of the Ifa. And what goes around comes around. And every time you create pain and suffering for another, it will come back on you 10 times. This is the teaching of Ifa. Furthermore, we are of a higher morality than your human laws, because we believe in divine order. And if you violate the natural orders, you will pay heavily for that. Consequently, a true priest or priestess of Ifa would be continually working to be without blemish. They would constantly be working on their character because they understand the power of divine law. You don't hurt people that are vulnerable to you. You don't take advantage of vulnerable people. You lift them up. You empower them. You are a good king. You know, these archetypes like Chango, Obatala, it's to be our best selves. And so the message from Ifa is, do not be called to false teachings of Ifa. Do not be told we are an amoral faith. Our faith is of the highest moral character. To walk with God is to be aligned with divine order. Okay, so I thought that was important. So that's more information. So the main reason they went in had to do with drugs. It was the drug dealing. Now, in terms of the future of Hollywood, the future of Hollywood is that the Hollywood can no longer afford to maintain the space of the studios. The studios are too large, and Hollywood is going belly up. So there's no more Hollywood. Okay, so what happened instead is that who's advertising Burger King? Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. The Oracle of Whimsy, right? And other little, I'm not a famous person, by the way. That's not what we're saying here. We're saying the opposite. We're saying that the money is now going to the people. It's to the small independent artist on YouTube who are making $2,000-3,000 a month, so that now they can make their rent while they're working their job as a doctor or whatever, which is always what art was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be about a mega mansion in the middle of the canyon where you've displaced wildlife and you're doing freak parties and everything else. It's never what it was. That's not the path of what it is to be an artist. It was to help people feel good and have fun. Now, we're all equals and let's have some fun. Let's play, right? And it turned into another form of the aristocracy, right? It became our version of the aristocracy with the same sick, twisted things, the freaky parties, etc. And so the lesson last night is stop propping up monsters. Hollywood exists because people are propping up monsters. People propped up Diddy because they were guaranteed a job. They wanted the money. They wanted to get into I want to get into the music industry. Okay, I'm getting names. I gotta be careful. They're just good kids that wanted to do sound engineering. And, and instead now they're having to give depositions. You see what I'm saying? That shouldn't happen to young, good kids that just want to get into music. How did you know that name was in my head, Sheena? Clive, how did you know that name was in my head, Sheena? Sheena, how did you do that? Damn, girl. Are you in our class? Are you a remote viewer? Yeah, I don't want to get people in trouble. Who was at the depot? Please, I don't want to. Sheena? Don't get us in trouble. I need you in one piece before you graduate, all right? I don't know if you've graduated yet from our school, but so stop propping up monsters in Hollywood with false stories and talk shows that are created to sell products. We like celebrity because it takes our minds off of our own suffering. So the purpose, if you are an actor, if you're an entertainer, you're just there to get people to laugh and to ease some of the stress. You're not there to live in a mega mansion while at the bottom of the mountain people are dying in the streets. Who's dying in the streets? Starving actors, starving artists. The majority of the people that I meet who are homeless on the streets of LA, they were just like those kids that are now been deposed because they thought they were going to go to camp to learn sound engineering. The next thing you know, they're moving drugs in a warehouse. Don't take advantage of vulnerable people. The circle of power. Well, now I've got power, so I'm going to beat up the youngest. Well, I'm not the youngest anymore. I'm going to, now I can beat up the youngest, right? So that dynamic of power, be the change you want to see in the world. Understand there is a natural order. What goes around comes around. Understand what the IFA is teaching. The natural order is far more powerful than any laws human beings can make. Be kind to all, so all can be kind to you too. It's like the Torah says, if you want to learn the Torah standing on one leg, same as the Ifa, be kind to others so that all others will be kind to you too. And if you violate the natural order, you will pay heavily for that. And that is today's message. So it's a lot about power, how we learn about power, how power changes. I was the youngest, and I had a younger, and I was horribly mistreated by the older kids to the point of trauma. Like, I actually have social anxiety because of it. But what happened when I got a younger brother, 5 years younger than me? I made his life hell, right? Now I'm the older, and I'm going to smack this kid around, right? So he became traumatized by me. And so it becomes the cycle. And then I have to, as an adult, say, man, I feel so bad about it. I picked on my baby brother when I was 12. I'm still holding on to guilt about it, right? Which is not rational because children don't have fully developed brains. But as adults, we do. And so what Spirit is trying to say is recognize it in yourself, recognize the shadow, face the shadow, and break these toxic patterns of power, because propping it up, look, you get Diddy. It's always going to be somebody on top and somebody being the scapegoat. And that's not what the universe wants for us in this world. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be somebody on top and somebody on the bottom. And it's the other reason why we don't like this whole infatuation with royalty. Now, I was criticized by saying, I don't want these paparazzi to come chasing people on streets in New York where something like 12 people almost got hit by cars because they came over the pond chasing Harry and Meghan down the streets of New York on motorcycles. Well, your country's plenty violent. Your country, we recognize the fact that America has too many guns, and we agree with you. That's not what this conversation was about. But we also recognize the fact that this country fought a revolution not to bow to anybody. So if you want to bend the knee, I acknowledge that I'm down here and you're up there. If that's your trip, out of respect, you're going to make yourself less than them. But be very clear about America, who we are, and why we exist. We exist because we found life insufferable as Brits. It was hell on earth. We don't want to pay taxes because there's snow on our roof, because your drunken brother decided it would be funny to terrorize poor people. And so you started taxing poor peasants in the north who had snow on their roofs, because you thought it would be funny to make life even more hell for vulnerable people with irrational taxes like snow on the roof. So people packed up and left. But that wasn't good enough. They had to come to the United States, the Bush family, right? The Heritage Foundation, and keep the crazy going. So that's what Americans are talking about. We don't want to be a part of it. We have divorced the crown. We are saying, do not bring your crazy here. That's what people are saying. Yeah, I mean, look at little Trump and his temper tantrum about power, right? The power dynamics. So, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to give you your community reading, and then we'll do some blitzes. It's scary, it's scary to think of all the ways in which we run around with all these unconscious ideas And it has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, it's because I'm the 6th of 7 kids, and it's like, I'm still doing that. I'm still getting intimidated by big burly guys that remind me of my brother, right? Just to be consciously aware, is that what that is? And then challenge yourself, challenge your old ideas. Yeah, exactly, Joel. It's like Joel said, his family had to leave, his great-grandpa. Yeah, they were being taxed. I mean, just crazy things. We have some remnant of it here in the United States where people will complain if your lawn looks bad, okay, or if you've got a lot of junk on the lawn. But we're not talking about complaining because your home is an eyesore to the rest of the neighborhood. That's the remnants of that. We're talking about the king actually applying a tax on you and future generations for 10 generations because we don't like your attitude and we don't like the house. Bankrupting 10 generations. I mean, that's the psychopathy of it. All right. What do you need to know about this week for all of us? What do we need to know? Where you are at right now, the base of the matter, this too shall pass. It's very important for people to realize this too shall pass. It will pass because it's a trade war. Everything that's happening to us, including if you're having financial challenges, if your financial challenges are probably the same as everybody else's right now. If you're worried about the war and inflation, learn how to make vegan casseroles. That's what I've been doing lately. I got to also increase my fiber, but it's about take care of yourself. Make sure you're okay. The 9 of Pentacles, be kind to yourself, save, be frugal, but your retirement is okay with that 9 of Pentacles. The American economy is really picking up. I think much of the trade wars could be ending by this summer. I see a change in the inflation problems. Getting wheat out of Europe. Has anybody seen the price of cereal lately? Just make your own, right? Or switch to oats. Get off wheat, right? But you can see financial stability coming in probably in the summer. So the economy is going to be better. Right now, the economy is topsy-turvy for everybody. The crossing card is new beginnings. There's a new beginning happening. I was giving a reading yesterday and I saw a missile leaving a naval ship. I was in the middle of the empath prayer and I went right past my head and I was like, and then I had to finish the empath prayer. And I was like, a missile just went past my head. It's where the hell? Oh, it's aiming at Houthi that are attempting to attack U.S. Oh, that's right. They're blocking trade. So they're they don't, they're attacking trade coming out of the Suez Canal, etc. So, excuse me. So again, it's going back to the trade route, the trade fights. We're going to win. Ace of Swords moving into 4th position. 9 of Wands. We're feeling the war. We see the fentanyl coming in from China. We see inflation, and we want somebody to because that happens. Inflation in wartime. Things will move on. This will get better. Take control of what you can and leave the rest. Find out what you can control and leave the rest. I was going to also say, if you would like to donate, if you enjoy your reading today and you'd like to show gratitude, we're raising funds for the Center for Police Equality, for racial equality. And we started this last year and we got a huge donation from Google. So we're going to keep it going. And so that's our charity. Okay, so you're coming into Magician, which means that now is a time for you to say, What can I control about my own life? The first part of the remote today is be aware of what we are co-creating and any unconscious ideas you have about yourself due to early conditioning. The second part of the remote is recognize what you can control in this time when things are difficult. The magician, you have the tools on the table right now to do what you have to do. The best thing your enemies could do, the people who broke your heart, the people who cheated, loved another, the best thing that they can do is to not think about you at all. The best thing your detractors and enemies can do is to forget you exist. Your enemy is off doing something else while you gain power. Nothing to see here. I'm nobody. I'm just a little naturopathic doctor, making herbs, right? Never attract jealousy. Keep yourself humble. There's no need. We're getting past the power dynamic. That was the whole point of today's remote. Get past the circle of the dynamic and just be a decent person. Protect yourself against negative people and keep going forward. Be like Megan. What's the plan, man? Right? When she was flirting with Harry, the plan. He had no idea. He's the frickin' prince, and you would think he would know the plan. What's the plan? The plan is to have fun, Harry, and make the world a better place. That's the plan, man. Oh, that's the plan. Isn't that sad? You're descended from the frickin' firm, and you didn't even know what the plan was. It's one of the first things his wife said to him when they met and they started flirting. He took her to dinner, and she said, "So, what's the plan, man? What are you going to do with the rest of your life? What's your vision? Why are you here? It's not a regular date, is it?" He said he thought they were going to talk about sports. He thought they were going to, what's your plan? What's your plan? What are you going to do with the rest of your life? What's your vision? Why are you here, Harry? Right? Welcome to the world of adulting, right? You will get your wish as long as you stick to the plan, man. Enjoy your life. Have fun. Be a good person. Lift others up where you can. Like Megan says, we're fighting hard to get to the top of the mountain to be our best selves. And when we get to the top, Haz and I, it's going to be easier for the rest of you. And then, sure, we'll help you on up too. That's what we're doing. We're trying to bring you on up with us. So power, be clear about what Spirit is saying about power. Power is simply the ability to live your best life without oppression or objectification, etc. Right? That's very different, so that you can serve others, right? And your final, so that's the message today from Spirit. This is power. And then the final outcome is 9 of Cups. It's kind of funny that Megan has to teach the royal family what true power is. Isn't that a shame? All right, that is your reading, and I hope it gave you some clarity. And it gets us off this whole fame and celebrity trip. Just do whatever you do it to your best ability, and be humble, and just be a good person, and get off the whole fame and celebrity and royal thing. Just, we're all humans, and we just have to help each other. And be compassionate. Be compassionate towards yourself. Be compassionate towards yourself. If you are beating yourself up, that's not going to help, right? All right. When we get the order, we will blitz away. Diana. Yeah, Diana. Oh, Diana. I heard the most ridiculous thing from Elton John. Oh, Diana would have hated Megan and blah, blah, blah. No, she wouldn't have. We love you, Elton John. You're a great singer. You're a great musician, but you don't have a clue what you're talking about. It's like, Diana was the least racist member of the family, and what did her brothers? Her brother, his Charles's name, right? Came out about being sexually abused. He said that his sister was a freak. Right? My sister's a freak. Because he said that she truly did not have any concept of racism. She didn't. She had no. It simply was not. She was born free of this disease, this British disease, right? It's a disease. It's a virus. It's a sickness. But for whatever reason, Diana was born immune. She was the mutant that somehow wound up immune to this. And the joke is she fell madly in love with a Pakistani pediatric surgeon from Pakistan. She searched Britain high and low to find the one family that would disapprove of the marriage, right? And then after that relationship didn't work out, she wound up with Dodi. I think he's Egyptian, North African. Is that correct? So she didn't really, Dodi Fayed, right? So she had no concept of this. And so I think that Diana was just terribly naive. You don't like my Pakistani boyfriend? Why not? He's really nice. He's a surgeon. He's really sweet. I think that she was just unbelievably naive. And I think that it doesn't surprise me she did not live a long life with people like that around. I'm sorry to say. Yeah, that's what Charles, her brother, said, that she's a freak. A good freak, his sister. She simply did not have. It simply wasn't. I think people are evolving, and I think that human beings are evolving to be better. And I think that in every generation you get mutants, you get people, which is what Charles was. You get people that are just unbelievably pure and evolved, and that's who she was. And thank God her son, Harry, has that aspect to him, but the other one is really more like his father. Just got some serious issues. All right, let's go ahead and blitz away. Does anybody have any questions for me? Any subject, I don't care. You guys tell me where to go, and I go. It's up to you guys. I'm happy to do it. Yeah, Diddy camp. I mean, the whole thing about Diddy, and the Hollywood sex scandals, Joel, I think that it's only a drop in the bucket. People have asked me if I could take a look and see if more names are coming out. Now they're saying that there are dirty tapes of Will Smith. Ellen DeGeneres' name has come up as possibly smuggling drugs through these furniture. I mean, it's just how many celebrities are involved with this? And is this going to be the thing that finally takes out Hollywood? Let's take a look. Thanks, Joel, for your help today. Yes, the main issue is thieves and criminals, but I see thieves and criminals fleeing Los Angeles. They may have moved to Thailand to avoid prosecution, pedophiles running to Thailand, drug dealers, etc., fleeing. They are fleeing the courts. The criminals are fleeing the courts. So people talk about Diddy. They have islands. They have mega yachts. They have mega mansions made on the bones of their victims, right? Who are sitting at the bottom. You know, how many miles of homeless have you guys gone to downtown LA lately? I mean, it's just, those are their victims. You know, the drugs, the abuse, the human. Oh God, it's such a dark place. But a thief flees the courts. where a judgment is coming down on Hollywood. Oh, I'm so glad. Remember I told you guys this 6-7 years ago? I'll tell you, Chuck and I have been in the business of we are healthcare workers in Hollywood for decades. We have seen it all. We have heard it all. We knew what was coming down, and we have tried to warn people. Chuck is much better at keeping his mouth shut than I. When I hear somebody's been harmed, I go crazy. The crossing card is our wish will be granted. Hollywood's going to clean up. It's not really one Hollywood anymore. It's people making small independent films in their living rooms. It's that world is gone. I see new wealth coming into Hollywood. Well, that's good. What they're sitting in, Ten of Swords. What did we say about the third house? That you sit in a Celtic cross. It's what you marinate in. Ten of Swords. Many people's lives have been raped and butchered and tortured, and hitmen assassinating people, and people gone missing, like the business partner of Johnny Depp. His car was found out in Redondo Beach or something. Assumed somebody, took him out and shot him and left the car out there? Nobody knows. The issue of justice. Justice has been denied. The victims feel the message from Spirit about Hollywood is it is exactly like the pedophile rings that started in Germany and in France and in Great Britain with the aristocrats, the century-old pedophiles, etc. Years and years and years of injustice. So you have the Ten of Swords over Lady Justice. And then it's headed towards a new building or a new creation. So something new is being built in Hollywood. Nine of Wands. Many people are going to be in jail. I see mass arrest and people being crowded into these into jail or mass arrest. Thank you so much, Jane Adams, for being a member. I really appreciate it. Welcome. The other that they are having problems with is the criminal, is the Seven of Wands. They are trying desperately to defend themselves, get out of Dodge, time to move to Singapore. This has been going on for a long time, where you have actors, movie people moving to France, like Roman Polanski. They're just going to book town. They fear the police. King of Swords is the police. The final outcome for them, a new economy. Hollywood's economy is going to be changing, and instead there'll be new industries. Looks like they're going into natural medicine. Health and healing is going to replace a lot of this is the green economy and death of Hollywood. Look at that. Just it'll be replaced by more the health industry, health and fitness. Also, the studios are going to get sold off. The large studios, I predict that they will start renting out massive amounts of space, and that some will be turned into museum spaces and parks, etc. So you could take part of Warner Brothers and you could convert it into a theme park, or you could donate it to the city or something like that, because it's simply not worth it for them to maintain that much space anymore. Warner Brothers, it's just too large. We don't make films like that anymore. I mean, the special effects is done on a computer. What do you need a big lot for? So I went into the future of Studio City, and I saw parks and greenery, and that they could not afford the taxes anymore. And so large swaths were donated to the city, which turned them into parks and nice areas. What more do you need than a small little area and an office space? Everything else can be turned into parks. And that's what's going to happen to Studio City. It's just not practical anymore. You don't need a film like that anymore. Nobody makes movies like that anymore. I mean, it was neat. I've been on all the movie lots. And I've been an extra on probably 100 shoots, maybe more. So it was cool. I got to be a little extra, I got to see what the movie stars are doing. It's neat. It's cool. see the bit, walk onto the lot and see everything is so large, but it's not going to be that way for much longer. It's extremely expensive, and it's gone belly up. People are going to jail. You can see, I mean, come on, you can read the cards. You don't even need to hire me. And instead they're moving towards a new economy. It's very sad to see what's happened to downtown Los Angeles. I hope the feds go in and convert it into affordable housing, which is what they're doing in many states. They have to determine what buildings can be converted and turned into affordable housing. The world has changed. It changed overnight. People work from home now. They have their food delivered. We don't need large offices anymore, and films are made in people's living rooms. So it's just a much smaller space that people inhabit now. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. So Yolanda was the oldest, and she experienced her own type of scapegoating. Yeah. I talked to my older sister, and she said that she felt that the eldest had another type of scapegoating, which is that anything that went wrong, it was always the fault of the eldest, because the eldest was supposed to know better. And so she felt that made it even harder for her, and that because I was the youngest, people were always making excuses. Well, Whimsy doesn't know any better, right? She's a kid. So I got away with stuff that my older, it's a good point. All right. Joel Tilson, I wonder if Homeland Security is investigating Corey Feldman's sex abuse claims. Probably. And the other thing that's interesting, and I'll take a look at that for you, Joel, is that Homeland Security was involved at all. I think the main reason was the drugs. Because those people in the warehouse, those brothers that were trying to get into the music industry, and the next thing you know, they're hauling drugs. What the hell is this? Of course they wore a wire and went to the feds. This isn't what we signed up for. Those are the guys that they're going to go. You know how it works after they talk to me. If they're talking to me, it's been cleared spiritually, which means that it usually breaks within 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, people have been with this channel for 6 years. They're so used to it at this point, they don't even think about it. It's so normal. This is their normal. They've seen me as a remote viewer for so many years that they just wait for it to break. It's like, okay, 2 weeks, and they put it in their calendar. It's just like when I believe what people tell me in the remote views. It's like when William said, now there's a lot, I mean, I don't even know what's going to be coming out of my mouth when I'm in trance. I just write down what the person says. When William said terrible things are going to start coming out about me in the next couple of weeks, and I hope you'll be gentle. Like, what the hell was that? Now all these people of color are saying that he and his staff made their life hell. One woman almost committed suicide. They're talking about a class action lawsuit. It's all going to blow up next week. So I just let people tell me what they're going to tell me, and I trust spirit, and then I just tell you all what they said, and I just let it play itself out. That's all you can do as a remote viewer. But I had no idea that was going to break, that there are like all these victims. It's like, what the hell is that? What were you people doing? Hiring people of color to fit some quota, and then driving them so badly to abuse they quit, almost committing suicide? Like, oh, but we fulfilled our quota. Look at all the people of color we hired. Yes, and they're all coming back with the same horror story. And this big expose is going to break in like a week. Why should they be kind? Help. This is the other thing I have. As a remote viewer, when I deliver a message like that, people got very upset, and rightly so. It's this is someone who's done some very terrible things, but when this breaks, it's like you're of all the people, you're Diana's son. How is that even normal? What the hell were you doing when she was down at the soup kitchen, or when she was on her knees in Bangladesh pulling people out of mud, or when she was walking on bombs in Vietnam. It's like, what happened to him? Why is he so screwed up? I mean, I sincerely want to know. I don't know. It's very. He's just so different from he's from Harry. Harry is like, okay, that's for sure Diana's son. But William is so different. It's crazy. Corey Feldman. The judgment is coming down about Corey Feldman. They get their wish. They can't prosecute because statute of limitations. It did change his life, though, because people are finally listening to him, and he was given a lot of compassion and support by federal investigators. But the people that harmed him got their wish because they were not able to be prosecuted. The judgment came down. His abusers got what they wanted. The justice, death, he's transformed. A star is over him. You know, you're an actor. You shouldn't be molested just because you want to be. That's so insane. I'll tell you, this industry is dead. I'm telling you. What do you think took them out? What do you think their opposition is? What do you think the opposition? Archangel Michael. Lady Justice. See that? See what I mean? So even though the people that hurt Corey know, unfortunately, Nine of Cups, like, statute, you can't get us, California. I don't think they should be able to do that because it's a federal thing. I think there should be no statute because, I mean, you do that to a kid. I think there should be no statute. That's my own. Sheena Ferry is scary psychic. I'm just looking at that. Yeah, Clive Davis. Clive Davis came in and he had some things to say, and then I had to shut him up. And then I think Sheena's a remote viewer. She was like, Clive Davis? I didn't say it, but Sheena heard it. You're a very psychic girl. Yeah, Sheena, are you a professional? So how did you do that? That's very rare that people can do that. Okay. Tarina Valere reminds me of how when genuine artists come together, they bring a masterpiece of a movie like Rebel Moon. Yeah, exactly. We love art. We love film. We love artists and actors. That's not what this is about. We're not ragging on actors. We're the opposite. We want to protect people. We want to protect Justin Bieber and all these other. We don't want that should never happen to anybody just because you want to do art. Art should be fun, just like science should be fun. It should be fun. It should be fun to learn. It shouldn't be traumatic. Yeah, so same thing. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, you know, people have said the same thing about going to DC, right? So they go to DC and it's that same hunger for power that you see when you go to Hollywood. Drunk with power, the devil, right? To be attached to something that does not sustain you. An example would be a drug. Family secrets in Hollywood, the hopes and the fear, the money. Look at these cards for Hollywood. A legacy of addiction and money. You guys see me shuffle. It's like these cards are always crazy. When I come on Sunday and you guys do the empath prayer with me, I'm always blown away at how incredibly dynamic the cards are, how psychic, Sheena, welcome. You guys are, and just how in simpatico we are. Yeah, Ace of Swords. There will be justice over this issue. Double aces, by the way, for the victims, which means that there will be a financial compensation for the victims of Diddy. Well, I mean, that's the thing that happened also with Epstein, right? They were trying to work out a deal with Epstein, but there are so many victims with Diddy. Who knows? But it does appear that there's going to be compensation for the victims. Okay, so Hansel, Taylor Swift. You guys had me laughing so hard Friday night. Was it Friday night or was it last night? People were talking about vampires and eugenics and how racist. No wonder Megan wanted to get out of there. You guys had me dying with laughter. I could just imagine her like, why do your family keep looking at my neck? We can't see your veins. Yeah, very strange culture. Very strange culture. I could just totally see her doing that, like, we got to get out of here, I love my family very much, but they've got a lot of strange ideas about a lot of things. Yes, exactly. Taylor Swift. She's building a new life in a new industry, and she's building her own studio label. She's building it. I don't know if she already has one, but she's building something. Probably going to be recording on some property she owns. The businesswoman. Look at that. She's building and expanding her property. So, it might be like 80 acres, a mansion, and then she has her studio there on the properties. She's taking her life slow. She's a queen that's building a hell of a industry. She is very attracted to she lives an insular life. Hangman means she could seriously consider giving up some of the pop stardom and going instead into investing in other artists, etc. Also, I get the impression she lives a very moderate lifestyle and she does not drink or do drugs. I don't think so with this card chart. You can see she has a new studio, new home, everything being rebuilt, 6 of Wands over the next 6 months, and her business sense is doing really well with a nice Ace of Wands moving in to 8th position with her Queen of Pentacles. So the outside world, it's all gung-ho on this new business project. Hopes and fears. She really doesn't know she likes her new boyfriend, but she really doesn't know where he fits into her future because she has this kingdom she's building and this really great boyfriend that doesn't have anything to do with the kingdom she's building. So she's confused about her boyfriend. Does he have a mustache? He does, right? So she's confused. 7 of Cups. It's in the air. That's what she's saying for me to tell you. Travis, it's in the air. This is separate. This is my business. This is a studio I'm building on my property. It's going to be really good. I'm really excited about the direction my business is going over the next 6 months. Travis, it's in the air. The main issue we have, I think he drinks a little too much beer for my taste. He drinks a little too much. I'm Taylor. Hi. He drinks a little too much for my taste. He's a nice guy. We'll see. What will be, will be. But I might hang it up just because I'm not much of a drinker. So that was the main thing. He's a good old boy. He likes to drink his beer. He's all right. He's not a bad guy, but it's the drinking. It's that, I have a more temperate lifestyle. Also, my dogs and animals go with me everywhere, and sometimes there's no room for him. All right, so that was Taylor. She has a bunch of dogs she takes with her traveling. I saw a bunch of dogs getting on the chairs with me. Okay, so she's saying it's in the air with him. You know what's interesting about this woman? She can have fun, she can have her love affairs, but her business is something separate. She's got a bunch of dogs that travel with her, huh? That's cute. I do that too. I know that Lady Gaga does that as well, right? Yeah, Houthis are being funded by Iran, and unfortunately, it looks like they're from what I saw, a lot of stuff isn't making it back to United States press, but I think there was possibly some kind of uh, conflict or something that happened yesterday. I'll just keep checking the news and see if it breaks. All right, let's go ahead. We'll do one more, and I think we'll call it quits. We've been here for over an hour. And yeah. All right, we'll do one more. This is coming from Tariana. Thank you so much for your question. Thinking about the conflicts, are they instrumental in the escalation? Do they have friends embedded in DC? Oh, what do religious leaders think of what's going on in the Middle East? Let's take a look. The red heifers of Rafah. The red heifers are in Rafah? No, they're not in Rafah. The red heifers are not in Rafah. That's not what's going on in Rafah. Okay, hold on. The devil. Israel's going to be stable. Israel's going to be stable. There is some corruption, people trying to get their money. There's a star over the Middle East with power and 6 of Cups. So I think the Abraham Accords is back on. I think these relationships are going to strengthen. And I think the East is, look, China, Russia, and Iran launched a trade war with the United States, and the United States launched a trade war with them. And we see where it's escalated. But I do think that we will come out of this. I just feel by summer we're done. We're done. What's going on in Rafah is that the Hamas is Iran. Okay, so Iran basically went in and occupied Gaza, and now their main tunnel was blown up. All the smaller tunnels they blew up first. Everybody ran into the large tunnel, which is 6 miles long. And they knew that Hamas would do that. So they got them all into one large tunnel. And then they all ran to the main headquarters in Rafah. And then they blew the tunnel up. So now everybody's in Rafah. So you can't, if you want to create a beautiful world in Gaza where people are back at work, you can't have terrorists kidnapping women and taking them down into the trenches. Like, they're getting testimonies now, human rights, of ISIS fighters, Hamas fighters. They were kidnapping local women. They weren't interested in freeing Palestine. They were kidnapping local women, forcing them into marriages with ISIS and Hamas fighters. Can you imagine how terrifying it would be to grow up in Gaza? Not fear of the Israelis, fear of being occupied by ISIS, and they're taking your pretty daughter down into caves. You never see her again. It just sounds so horrifying to me. It just sounds so terrifying. I don't know anything about this red heifer thing. I can tell you that according to the Torah, in order to purify the instruments for the red heifer, it has to be the ashes of a red heifer. And I believe the red heifer has to be born in the Holy Land, and it has to be without blemish, and not a single hair can be black. And it's not just a red heifer. It has to be a red heifer where they look with a microscope and there's not a single black, and it has not even happened. Every generation we think we're close, and then they take a look and it's not a pure red heifer. Calling someone a red heifer does not meet the requirements of the prophecy of sacrificing a perfect red heifer, meaning a perfect red heifer. You can't just ship in some red heifers you got from Texas and say, oh, well, will this do? Let's chop up let's have a barbecue. That's not what this is, okay? So, yeah. I don't know about so much as Iran making peace. I would love to see the pure math not come up the way that it is, but it's really hard to imagine. Texas sent the heifers. Well, that's nice of them. Maybe in a generation or two, their DNA might help produce whatever, but it has nothing to do with the prophecy of a perfect red heifer emerging, all that other stuff. Yeah, Iran, it's going to be hard to imagine peace in the Middle East with the current government in Iran. And a lot of people feel like the only way out is that Iran has to be toppled, because it's just such a psychotic administration, and the people of Iran themselves want out. So it's a bad situation. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your love and support. Thank you if you did make a donation to the Center for Policing. If you need to see me as a reader, you can find the information for booking through Booksy. I'm also a naturopathic doctor, and I do see patients through telemedicine. That information is also below through Booksy. You would just go to Booksy. Okay, again, thank you, everyone. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. We'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Peace out.